So my thought was, I want to fail. I want to fail fast. I want to fail often, because the quicker that I fail, the quicker that I can learn a lesson from it, and the quicker I can learn through my mistakes and move forward. And perspective is such an important thing. I feel like I had lost it for a long period of time, and for the first time in many, many years, I have it back. And the attitude now is, hey, just don't regret anything. Like, don't have any regrets. Like, move forward, do your best, and don't look back.
Welcome to Your Next Big Project is You, a podcast based around the theme of time. Time to be able to press pause on life. Time to reevaluate what's important. Time to reminisce about where you've come from, what you've learned, and what you've accomplished. Time to revisit your goals, dreams, and vision. And time to remember the people in your life. That's it, my friends. If you've got time, fasten your seatbelt and listen in as we discuss opportunities for the next 5 to 25 years of your life. And remember, your next big project is you. Welcome to our podcast. Your next big project is you. And I have a special guest here today from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Hey, Blaine, how'd I do with that pronunciation there? Pretty good, buddy?
Yeah, I think you did pretty well. A lot of people mess it up, so good on you.
I want to welcome Blaine Arnold here, a former client and a very good friend of mine for many years now, into our podcast today. And when I think of Blaine, I think of a guy who's just a committed husband, a father of 2 boys. He's a coach, he's now an entrepreneur, and just one of the great guys I've had the privilege to meet in my travels. And Blaine, really happy to have you join me today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Yeah, thanks, Leo, for having us in.
You know, it's interesting with your story, moving from a large organization when I first met you, into jumping into the entrepreneurial pool. I know that caused a lot of emotions on your part as we were talking about that when that shift was taking place, but how's your life changed as a result of that move, Blaine?
Yeah, it's a great question, Leo. Like, I guess the first thing is, you kind of lose that stability, right? You know, because you've been in that corporate world for so many years, and you're used to kind of that regular paycheck and all of those regular routines that go along with it. And now you're trying to do it on your own. So that was a big change initially. I think was trying to figure out the stability of it. But you know, at the end of the day, you kind of work through. You put your head down, you go to work, and you start to recognize this newfound freedom that you have, and the flexibility that goes along with that. That was exciting. Like, I hadn't had that for 25 years, right? So to be able to have that again was awesome. It just changes the quality of your life, I think. I think the other thing for me was, I always felt like in every organization I was in, I always felt like I owned the business, but I knew I didn't own the business, and I knew that I was working for somebody else. And so for the first time in my life, I own the business. You know, I don't only feel it, I live it every single day. So it's been great. You know, the stress has been, I think no matter what you do, there's stress, right? I lived a life of stress in the corporate world, and I'm still stressed today, but it's a different type of stress. Yeah, it's been really interesting. Just every day waking up, try to be your best, and that's kind of the goal. You know, from the world we both lived in for the good majority of our time, and I'm still hanging out in that wealth management world. I know you're now, through your new entrepreneurial venture, really the work that you're doing in leadership and sales development is really going into a lot of different organizations. And that's what's really cool to see what you're doing right now. And I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, you work for an organization, and we talk about, well, you're an entrepreneur within the organization. You're
You have
Yeah.
this territory or this division or this market or this branch or things like that. And you need to act as a CEO of your franchise here and things like that. But all of a sudden, when it's Blaine Arnold and you look in the mirror and say, honey, that freedom, that flexibility, and guess what? All these moments, and when we were prepping for this call, I remember talking to you about some of those hyperventilating moments. As you said, you still carry some stress, but what were some of those moments? Because I think that's always good for other entrepreneurs listening to this podcast or wannabe entrepreneurs to hear some of the things that cause you a little bit more stress than others.
Yeah, like I mean, it's hyperventilate is a good word. I think I still do it every single day, and it's okay to do it. I think regardless of the stage of your business, you're going to have those hyperventilating moments. I feel I don't see that ever going away, but I think it's at the beginning, I think that a lot of that hyperventilating was just the fear of the unknown, right? Because you didn't really. I had a good feeling of what I was getting myself into. I was passionate towards it. I love what I do, and it's what I do now is very much what I've done for the last 25 years. So it's not like it's a major change, but there's the fear of the unknown. There's the fear of failure. At the end of the day, there's people around you kind of watching you to see, okay, can he make a go of this or not? And so there's that pressure you put on yourself, but there's that fear of failure that you're going to let people down, let your family down. Is this going to be successful? Like what we're doing, is it going to be successful? Is it actually going to be something that I enjoy doing? And I had a good feeling of that going in. I was Sandler trained 25 years ago. So I knew kind of what I was getting myself into, but was it going to be something that I enjoyed every single day? And it's been awesome. But, I think when you start the business out, it's, I've said this to a few people, it's me, myself, and I. Like all roads come to me. And that's, in my previous world, I never had that. I had a lot of great support around me and a lot of people that you could sort of have tackle certain projects, things like that. Whereas at the beginning, it's all you. And, as you grow the business, obviously that changes. But I would say that's what I've hyperventilated over the first time. Leo, probably no different than you, like when you started out years ago, right? I'm assuming that you would have had similar kind of experiences.
Well, I would go a step further than me, myself, and I. I'd say me, myself, and I, and my wife.
Yeah.
Somebody on it, because they said, "Who's your boss?" I said, "Well, I guess must be my spouse, must be my wife." And I've been very blessed. I remember when I made the jump from an organization to putting my name on the shingle, and people said, "Well, how did you manage it?" And I said, "Well, I had a mindset." As I told my wife, when my wife said, "Are you crazy? Are you sick? You're leaving this job and you got a nice income and you're working with good people." And she said, "What's the worst that could happen?" I said, "We'll sell the house to keep the kids." That was my mantra. We added another one and a couple of dogs over the years, and now we're almost up to 7 grandkids. So something worked. When you jump in, when you step into an entrepreneurial pool, in the things that you said are freedom, flexibility. But there's a balance of that hyperventilation and those emotions that we carry into this. And like you said, the fear of failure, it's like, oh my gosh, what if this doesn't work? What am I going to do? And it's like when I'm hearing you from talking to you a few times now, Blaine, it's when you're on purpose and when you know you're living your passion, someone like yourself that wants to make a difference in the life of others, that is such a fulfilling moment or fulfilling part of your heart and your soul of knowing when you're talking to people that this is what you're destined to do. And so I'm so proud of what you're doing in this ship. Let's talk about this for a minute. When you work for bigger companies, and we talked about the fact that sometimes the fun, it can be sucked out of us sometimes.
Yeah.
When I see this with a lot of people that I call on and stuff, it becomes a job. It's like, it's not anything that I'm feeling from the innermost part of their heart and soul that they really love what they're doing. And what you're coaching a lot of people now that work in companies. What do you see when we talk about sometimes the companies can suck the fun out of you?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess the thing about it is you can only control what you can control. Right. And unfortunately, a lot of times in business, and I coach a lot of my clients on this, is try to control the things that you can control. And that's all you really can do. And I think that's there's so many external factors that are just going to kind of happen that you can't do much about. And so it's really a mindset thing. Like you talked about mindset earlier. It's that I'm going to take one day at a time. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to have this positive mindset that, like, I like what you said there. Like, if it doesn't work out, we'll sell the house and we'll keep the kids. Like, I remember you saying that years ago, and that still stuck with me. And did that go through my head? Absolutely. It's when I started this business, that absolutely went through my head. If it doesn't work, everything's going to be okay, right? And but yeah, there's a lot of these uncontrollables around you, and you just got to stay calm. And I think for me, what I needed to do was realize that I was going to have many failures along the way. And so my thought was, I want to fail. I want to fail fast. I want to fail often, because the quicker that I fail, the quicker that I can learn a lesson from it, and the quicker I can learn through my mistakes and move forward. And perspective is such an important thing. I feel like I had lost it for a long period of time, and for the first time in many, many years, I have it back. And the attitude now is, hey, just don't regret anything. Like, don't have any regrets. Like, move forward, do your best, and don't look back. And that's, I would say that's been a massive mindset shift for me. Yeah.
Yes, and I believe what happens, Blake, just comparing notes on our entrepreneurial paths here, is like the other sensation. It feels like you're just jumping into the pond and you're taking your life jacket off. And as I would tell other aspiring entrepreneurs, if you're following your heart, your passion, your soul, deep within you, this is what I can be doing. This is what I should be doing. And it's like I say, I don't know if you're going to swim freestyle or backstroke or breaststroke or whatever, but I said, I know you're not going to drown. And I said, somehow you're going to get back to the surface and probably jump in again. You realize, you know what? I just closed the deal, or I just got somebody that wants to work with me.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely, things start to take off. So if you're following your heart, and as I said, one of my other mantras is that passion never sleeps. And especially when you're working for yourself and you're coming home, and I know your wife is going to be part of your organization. You got a few other people that are, who would have thought for you 17, 18 months ago, stress, hyperventilation, all these emotions. Look at you now in less than 2 years of having a potential team of 6 supporting your growth efforts in helping leaders and salespeople in Canada to take their businesses and their lives to the next level. Would you ever imagine that?
No, the thing about it is, I did that under the corporate shell for so many years, right? Like, helping people grow their business. And I always used to say to people, like, I would do that for free, because I got a lot out of that. I got a lot of fulfillment out of that. But would I have ever thought that I would have kind of gone in the direction that I've gone, doing what I'm doing, being in the position that we're in today? Like, no. It's been great. And but you have to love what you do. And I think that's so important, that if you love what you do, that comes through in your conversations, that comes through in your meetings with people. And I kind of go back to that thing. I kind of talked a little bit about that earlier with the controllables. And there's certain things, I think, in life that give us energy, and there's certain things in life that take our energy away. And I think the thing is are you doing it for the money, or are you doing it for another reason?
Yeah.
And it took me a little while to figure that out, but when I realized that, it was just like, okay, let's go, and let's go have some fun, and let's go do this, and it's been great. The team has grown so quickly, and the acceptance that we've had in the business community, it's been wonderful, beyond my expectations for sure.
Well, it's cool when you think back because you work for just a great organization
Yeah.
in your former life. I know the
Yeah.
friends that you made, and I know the leadership, and just a collection of just some really wonderful people. And the group of folks that I admire and had the privilege to work with as well. But I when it comes back down to this issue of our passion, and I always ask people, I said, if you won the lotto tonight, you got a lottery ticket and you won X millions of dollars. You think of all the people say, I'm out of here tomorrow. I'm out of here tomorrow. And I think you're at a point now that if you won the lotto or lottery, wherever they're calling it up in Saskatchewan,
Yeah.
it's I believe you're probably like me. You'd say, "Oh, wonderful! This is a windfall I didn't expect." But guess what? Tomorrow I'm going to do exactly what I'm doing today because I love it. So
Yeah.
much. And it doesn't feel like work when you're helping people. And so that's always been a important question in talking to people. Say, if you won X millions of dollars, would you still be doing tomorrow what you're doing today?
Right.
Taking a couple of weeks off to be reflective and maybe to focus a little bit more, but I believe you'd be doing what you're doing today if you had that windfall.
Yeah, like I think obviously you probably get some better balance in your life, especially for us at this stage of the business. We're under 2 years still, so we put in a lot of time, a lot of days, a lot of hours. But so I think you get better balance in your life. But yeah, I agree with you, Leo. Like you need to have purpose, and like I said before, you have to love what you do. And the thought of winning a lotto and sitting on a beach for the rest of my life, yeah, I mean, for me, that would last about 2 weeks, and then it would be like, okay, I got to get back to doing something, because you have to have purpose. And I recognized many, many years ago that I get fulfillment out of what I do by helping others. I've had so many people that I hired over the years that came in with nothing, and 10 years later they were ultra successful and surpassed me from an income standpoint after year 3 or 4, right? And I was good with it. I never ever had any bad thoughts towards that. I wanted them to succeed, and so for me, that's purpose, and that's loving what you do. And when you do that, and when you're surrounding yourself with people that you enjoy working with, which thankfully I have that. I agree with you. It doesn't feel like work anymore. You'll never work another day of your life, I think, if you get to that stage of things.
Well, I think if that happened to me, my wife would be the one after 2 weeks to say, "Get out of here." What do you think?
Yeah.
Because she knows how easy I would be, because I'm like you. I want to help people. I want to help people to elevate their games in business and in life. And I believe we share the same values there. And when you care and when you enjoy the challenge of listening to people and seeing what their issues are, and then talking things out with people, I know you and I are from the same cloth in that area. One of the things that you mentioned in our last conversation was the blind spots that leaders have today. And so I know when you're out coaching and counseling and doing some of your programs, could you help us understand what some of these blind spots are from your experiences?
Yeah, I mean, well, blind spots are like, first of all, I've worked with business owners for over 20 years, right? And I think from my experiences, these blind spots, they can kill or seriously damage an otherwise very healthy business. And I see too many leaders that don't know what they don't know, and they're not really interested in necessarily finding out either. But the problem is that there are predictable ways that these blind spots kind of show up, and there's predictable ways to make sure that you can mitigate them. But it's basically impossible to be effective as a leader, as a business with these dangerous blind spots all around you. And, you get so many people that started out in business, like myself, myself and I, and they never really anticipated that someday they would be leading a business. They didn't anticipate that they would have employees and that they would have departments and things like this. And then fast forward 10, 15, 20 years later, they have that. And they have the blind spots that have come along with it, but they haven't necessarily developed the leadership skills to sort of counter it. Right. And yeah, it's a common challenge throughout business for sure.
What I think happens too, Blaine, just picking up on one of your earlier themes when you talked about controlling what you can control. And to me, there's an intersection of things you can control, but blind spots. I mean, and I believe there's an awakening or shaking people up in a nice way to say, listen, let's think about the pathway of where you're going, the goals and the vision and your mission, where you're trying to go with things. And then when you start to say, what's in your control, what's out of your control, I think what happens many times is those controllables many times are areas of development or those blind spots.
Yeah.
So, you're missing something here. You're too close to the action here. You need to look at this thing a little bit differently here. You're not looking at this thing properly. Is that what we're talking about here? I see that coming together from my consultancy. Is that similar to what you're running into as well?
Very much. Like you just see so many people that are they're so busy working in the business, right? Yeah. That they don't ever work on the business. And the only way that you're going to identify these blind spots is if you actually get yourself out of that chair. Now I'm not saying that you stop doing what you're doing, because you might be the best, you might be the best salesperson or the best advisor in your business. So I'm not saying to stop it, but you got to be able to take yourself out of the chair every once in a while and work on the business. And that's where you'll identify these blind spots that very, very easily could be around you. So I think I see so many leaders reacting to things around them versus being proactive towards those things. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with that. Yeah, I would think that you would see the exact same thing with a lot of the work that you do with people.
Yeah. So now you've jumped off the diving board. You're in the pool. You took your jacket off. You're swimming. You realize maybe failing fast is like, I got to come up for air and get back to the side of the pond here a little bit quicker here. Holy cow, I made it. I did it, honey. Look, I just closed this deal. Some people I'm going to be coaching or training, they want to hire me. Do you believe it? Holy cow, me, myself, and I, there's some value to this, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious, now that you've been doing this for a little less than 2 years, who are the people you really love to work with? Who are the ones that when you get a phone call or that email and you're talking to some of these people that are ones that you just get off the phone and say, man, how lucky am I? I'm blessed and privileged.
Yeah.
With somebody like this. Who is that for you?
Well, for me, a lot of it was the same people that I was working with before. And so it was interesting being the manager of the operation. And sometimes you sit back and you wonder, does this group really see value in what I bring to the table? Right. And sometimes you never really know. You never really get that reinforcement as a leader. But when I started out on the business on my own, that was the original group that really I started to work with at first. A lot of the same types of people, and I'm so grateful to that group. What I recognized was that we weren't just coworkers. We weren't just employer-employee. We had a strong bond. We had a strong relationship. We were like family in a lot of ways. And so for them, it was just a natural thing for us to continue to work together. It made no sense to them to not continue to work together. So, and that's just kind of continued to grow and grow as time has gone on. But so thankful for that group. You really recognize kind of who your friends are, who your supporters are in times like that. And I'm so grateful to that group. but it's expanded from there. I mean, it's you know a lot of people in the business community, you know a lot of people in the industry, and it's amazing when you kind of have people reach out to you and say, hey, I kind of hear what you're doing over here. I think, we could use that same thing over here. And so that's been awesome. But we've also tried to really expand outside of the industry into new industries, because what we do is very transferable to all industries.
Yeah.
And we've just had a strong receptiveness of people that at the end of the day, they want to grow. They're not happy with status quo. They might be good, but they want to be great. They might be great, but they want to be brilliant. And they're not happy with just status quo. And that's where that's the group that I really want to work with and enjoy working with, because I'm wired that way. And it just makes our connection so much better when we're aligned in the same ways that way.
Well, the acclaimed author, I give Jim Collins the credit for this when he wrote his book, Good to Great, a couple of decades ago. And in my own research and my own travels around the globe, I just realized, to me, there was an ascension to a couple of other areas, from good to great to extraordinary, or almost like people with goosebumps in your presence. You can feel that there's another level of capabilities and talent and competencies that come to bear. And then, when people are just at that level, I found some of the greatest people I've been privileged to work with in my travels later, the ones that just say, I'm really good at this. I just want to be my best.
Yeah.
Need somebody to stick a finger in my face, so to speak, and to challenge me to be at the upper level of my capabilities. And I love working with people like that, the ones that are acknowledged as successful practitioners in their craft right now, but know that there's room to grow.
Yeah.
Invited to feedback and to be challenged and things like that. So think about your career too, when you go from being a respected manager and coach and within an organization, as you said, working with the same people. But now it's almost, there's an elevation as a thought partner or as a consultant or someone, even though when he was here, I really respected his abilities and talents. Now he's gone. And guess what? I need him even more than ever now that he's not even here anymore. And help me with some of these things to take my business to the next level. I think you're starting to realize that in a few months. Leading the organization and saying, my skill sets are probably even thought about at a higher level now that I'm gone than when I was even here.
Yeah. And no, you're right. And it's, I think it's important as professionals, there's things that will get in your way from trying to advance yourself professionally. Ego, for example, that is that's my biggest competitor right there is ego. It's just people that think they have it all figured out and they're not open to something new. But it's been great to work with a lot of those same people and new people. So grateful for that, without a doubt.
Well, you've talked about some things here, some words I wrote down. You mentioned the word perspective. Talked about not having any regrets. The issue of energy and purpose and being with people who grow and out of the status quo. And the one thing I've known about you from being around you over the past and how we've kept in touch in the ascension of me, myself, and I, is that you really continue to want to make a difference in the lives of others. And as you know, that some of my current work today is around, that book right there, Your Next Big Project Is You. And you're all about helping to make a difference in the lives of others. And when you look at some of these cards, here's, life of significance, right? And let's not have any regrets, and let's be abundant with our time and our talent and our treasure. And one of the other key words you said is that we should have some perspective, right?
Yeah.
So here's a good card. Let's focus on perspective for you to end the conversation today. This question right here says, what are the biggest challenges in your life right now? And are they as big as you are making them out to be? And so this is the question that you and I need to ask other people. I'm curious though for Blaine Arnold from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. What are the biggest challenges in your life, do you think, currently and going forward the next few months here to help other aspiring entrepreneurs or current ones?
Yeah, like my biggest challenges are just being able to deliver, to help people. Like at the end of the day, I put a lot of pressure on myself to add value to people and to really make sure that they're getting value out of working with me, right? So, but the perspective has changed so much. Like I think your card says, how important is that perspective in reality, like basically, right? And that's the thing is perspective is an important thing to have always. I probably had lost it for a lot of years. And again, it's one of those things that I've gained back by being on my own. But yeah, every day waking up with the right perspective of what am I here to do? Where can I add value? Where can I help people? And realizing at the same time that you can't help everybody and not everybody's going to be open to it. And that's okay. And just kind of knowing where your place is and knowing, really where you can excel and be a difference maker for people. That's key. And, it's interesting you brought up the book that's behind you because I still remember you and I talking, a couple years ago. And that's what you said to me, right? Was you said, Blaine, your next big project is you. And I thought, whoa, I don't know about that. But, and here we are 2 years later. It's perspective is important, but it's also important to be grateful to the people that have helped you along the way. And I worked with so many great people that helped me and developed me and kind of taught me how to do things. And 2 years ago, like you were one of them 2 years ago that really helped me through that. And there's others. And I'll be forever grateful to those people that have helped me through my career and helped me to where I am today.
Just to put a crossing of the T and the dotting of the I on our discussion today, perspective, when I teach it now, is about increasing your sensitivity to what you have and what others don't. And you're always walking by somebody that's in worse shape. You realize you might have had a tough day and you see somebody that's health challenged or just doesn't have what you have in your life. When you think about your wife and your kids, there's that one game show that was The Price is Right when they say, hey, Blaine Arnold, come on down, to do this. What I would tell you for perspective to end this, I would say, Blaine Arnold, turn around. And what I mean by that is if I had you turn around in your chair right now and look at those pictures of your two kids,
yeah,
shots behind you, in those family photographs and things, that's perspective.
Yeah.
So it's not come on down, it's turn around at times. It's to look, because I've got the same thing here with pictures of my family and things that I've done and surrounded by my blessings of the love and support that we both have from our spouses and our kids and things like that. So listen, continue the ride, my friend. You're making a difference. You're helping people with their blind spots. You're helping people understand what it's like to fail often and to fail fast. You're helping people with perspective and gratitude and regrets in your own way. And I'm proud to know you as a buddy and as someone to collaborate with for many years to come. So thanks so much, Blaine.
Thanks, Leo. I appreciate this. It's been great to connect with you. Thanks again.